Hey guys, Sam here, and welcome to another Thanksgiving-centered review. While the last one I talked about, Little Orphan, can be kind of seen as a Thanksgiving-related episode, this one really is about Thanksgiving. I mean, it's in the title, Arnold's Thanksgiving. Hey Arnold, a cartoon that is loved and respected by many, and it's one I rarely talk about. I mean, the only time I talked about it was when I reviewed the Jungle movie, but that's gone, like my old channel. YouTube gives people a voice, but doesn't really want you to use it. Anyway, I figured that this would be a good time to talk about something Hey Arnold and Thanksgiving related at the same time. So, is the special pretty good or not? Well, let's go ahead and have a look. Now, say with me, first summary, then final thoughts, and finally, free candy! Nah, I'm just fucking with you. Okay, with that out of the way, let's begin. A quick boo and kids, the last thing you need is that crap. So after Arnold watches a ship mimicking the Mayflower set off, he gets to school where his class is putting on a Thanksgiving pageant. But as expected, it's awkward, poorly handled, but funny as hell. But it does end on a nice note though. So everything seems okay, right? Well, not exactly. You see, the story focuses on Arnold and Helga and why they don't like Thanksgiving too much. Helga doesn't like Thanksgiving because, well, her family is pretty chaotic. The father is too busy watching football games, the mother is still her drunk self while still trying to make food, and Helga's sister Olga is the manager, the you do this and you do that kind of person. You know, the ones that you just wish could shut up. So the tension is there, but it reaches a boiling point when the family ask each other what they are thankful for. When they get to Helga, she says she's thankful for nothing. This gets the others a wee bit upset, so she's told to go to her room, but she leaves the house instead, thinking that she could find a better Thanksgiving someplace else. Okay, so you may be saying, well, that's expected for Helga to not have a good Thanksgiving with her family, but what about Arnold? Why does he not like it? Well, it's because his grandmother confuses Thanksgiving for the 4th of July. Yeah, that's right. They launch fireworks, make hot dogs on the roof despite it being absolutely freezing, and even dress up in old colonial clothes. And the rest of the relatives just go along with it so they don't hurt her feelings.
Grandpa, why do we go along with Grandma's 4th of July plan every year? Let's just have a regular Thanksgiving.
Well, we could, but then we'd be like everyone else. What fun would that be?
Confusing Thanksgiving for the 4th of July? That's like if someone confused the Jewish holiday Yom Kippur for Adolf Hitler's birthday. Yeah, downright ridiculous. So after Arnold gets made fun of by one of his friends from school, he decides to sneak out and look for a better Thanksgiving too. This leads to him meeting up with Helga later. They go to find some joy to fill their miserable hearts, but it's not working. Then Arnold gets an idea. If their teacher, Mr. Simmons, was able to make a nice Thanksgiving play, surely his Thanksgiving has got to be good, right? Wrong. Turns out his family is just downright toxic. One complains all the time, one always makes snarky remarks, one just doesn't give a shit, and then the last one just cares about food. So yeah, Arnold and Helga realize that Mr. Simmons doesn't have the best Thanksgiving either. But they soon figure out that despite their family's faults, they would rather have those Thanksgivings than what Simmons has. And even Simmons says that despite his family's faults, he still loves them and is thankful to have them. So Arnold and Helga decide to go home. But when Helga gets back, she gets quite a surprise. Turns out her family really thought she was gone and they were doing whatever they could to get her back. Yeah, I'm not kidding. They start calling the cops, start getting some missing posters together, and so on. But when they see Helga standing right there, they greet her with open arms, and she ends up having a decent Thanksgiving with them after all. As for Arnold, he goes back to his house and onto the roof. But at first, he finds barely anybody but his grandpa, and he makes it seem like things fell apart after he left. But it was a trick. They actually decide to throw him a surprise Thanksgiving party. The food is out, everyone's happy, and even Grandma's like, 4th of July? What are you talking about? It's Thanksgiving. And the episode ends with Arnold asking his grandmother to launch the fireworks, which fill the whole night sky. The end. So that's Arnold's Thanksgiving. What are my thoughts? Well, it is very solid. It has the aspects you would expect from Hey Arnold. Dry humor, a laid-back tone, character, and heart. But I think the biggest thing that jumps out about this episode is how relatable it is. There are families that deal with a lot of dysfunctions around this time of year, and some range from that to very depressing and toxic. I know I wouldn't want to be in Simmons' shoes here, and yeah, some can relate to certain traditions that they might find embarrassing, like Arnold. But at the end of the day, Thanksgiving really isn't a time of year where everything must be perfect. It's the time of year where we are thankful for many things. Friends, family, a roof over our heads, money in the bank, all that good stuff. It's the time of year where we should turn to each other and say, you know, I'm thankful to have you in my life. You may drive me insane, but I still care about you and love you. And if some of you don't have the greatest families, then there are friends you could be thankful for too. And best of all, just being on this earth is something to be thankful for as well. Being thankful that you are still alive and ready to take on the rest of your days. That's the biggest reason why the special succeeds. Anyone can relate to any situation. Whether it's embarrassing, dysfunctional, toxic, or decent, we all can relate. But it isn't just that makes this episode good. There was a lot more to like. I like how this episode had Arnold and Helga interacting off each other, then together learning how their Thanksgivings aren't too bad. I do like that Helga's family was concerned about her safety, something I don't think we see that much in the series. There were some good jokes sprinkled here and there, the play itself was downright hilarious, and the ending was really sweet and heartwarming. And here's something else I noticed while watching this. Remember at the end of the Christmas special where Helga stands outside Arnold's home, sees that he's having a good Christmas, and says, "Merry Christmas, Arnold?" Well, in the Thanksgiving special, it's Arnold that's standing outside Helga's house, sees her having a nice Thanksgiving, and says, "Happy Thanksgiving, Helga."
Happy Thanksgiving, Helga.
Now, if that isn't a sign of where the characters would end up later, I don't know what is. Now, are there some drawbacks? Well, maybe a couple of things. One, sometimes the animation can look a little choppy, particularly when the characters' mouths are moving. It's not a huge problem, I mean the animation is still mostly good, but it is something I noticed. And two, I get that Arnold's grandma is a little crazy, but I never thought she was stupid enough to believe that the 4th of July is Thanksgiving. I mean, it's kind of funny, but also kind of stupid too. I know that Arnold is supposed to learn later that some traditions aren't all bad, but yeah, I couldn't blame him for being embarrassed about it. At least the grandma came to her senses in the end. But despite those two nitpicks, Arnold's Thanksgiving is still a good special. Laid back, funny, relatable, endearing, and very nice to watch during this time of year. I highly recommend it, and if I had to give it a final score, I would have to give it a 9 out of 10. Well guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And my Twitter username is in the description too. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, my name is Sam. Mwah, good night everybody, and have a happy Thanksgiving.